And the reason I say that is, have you ever had the horrific experience of actually achieving your goal and then saying, is this all there is? It's one of the worst moments in a person's life, because failing to achieve your goal, at least, you may be frustrated, but it's still possible. When you actually achieve your goal and then it doesn't have the same meaning, it doesn't juice you, it doesn't make you feel alive, that's depressing for people. And the reason is most of us are never taught on how to have fulfillment. It is an art. And the reason I say art is it's not absolute in its rules. Art is unique and different as people. When I work with people, I tell people, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm not here to tell you what you should get or what you should want. I'm here to help you focus and find what your passion is. What is your definition of an extraordinary life? What's life on your terms? And what's life on your terms today? Not what you thought it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, not someone else's script. Yours today. What will really fill you up? What would excite you? See, when you tap into that, life has got meaning. And I think meaning comes from two things. Is this moment that we're having right now, this moment I'm talking to you, I'm trying to step into your heart and your mind and try to give you a sense from mine of what I've experienced and try to get a sense of what maybe is important to you. But does this moment of conversation have any meaning? Is it a waste of time? Is it worthwhile? What moments are extraordinary? I would say any moment you appreciate. Think about it. And if you've got $1 billion and the primary emotion of your life is frustration and anger, then your life is frustrating and angry. It doesn't matter how much money you got. If you have a family where everybody loves you, and you have somebody that adores you, but you sit around feeling depressed all the time or worried, then your life is depression and worry. It's not love. We are the emotions that we make habitual. We are the emotions that we live consistently in life. That's what dominates us. So in this first CD, getting it going here, in this first audio introduction, if you will, one of the things I really want to do is get you associated that emotions don't just happen to you, that you do them. And when you start to understand this, you start to learn how you can not only shift your ability to achieve, but your ability to enjoy. And I think that enjoyment, that art of fulfillment, is learning how to appreciate things, really enjoy things to the fullest. Many of us feel guilty if we do that. And also how to make sure we're contributing in a way that gives us a sense of meaning. Because no matter how much you achieve within yourself, meaning, a life that has deep value, comes because we feel like, hey, I didn't just get up and enjoy and succeed and celebrate, but somehow I helped to pay it forward. That I did something, I did something for someone I love, or maybe for someone I don't even know I did something loving. Those little things play a huge role. So I'm not trying to give you the whole enchilada in this moment, but I do want to give you a sense of where we're going. So I'm hoping that I will, as a result of these couple CDs, really be able to help you, help yourself take things to the next level in the first stages of that. Get those fundamental understandings, some skills that really work for you, make those shifts, and set up a process so that you ongoingly get results. And then at the end of this, again, if you choose to, please call our company and give me the privilege of having an opportunity to coach you. Everything I do, by the way, we give a money-back guarantee on. So if you go to one of those programs, or if you decide to have a personal coach, or you decide to do the rest of this program and you don't think it's worthwhile, you can look at our guarantee there and you can get all your money back based upon the guarantee for that particular product. But all of it is really just about your satisfaction. So I'm here to serve you, and I hope that this is the beginning of a really beautiful journey and where we can make a difference. In this first Edge experience, I hope will begin that momentum for you. See, all change happens in a minute. You got to remember the power of a minute. In 1 minute, you could change everything in your life. In 1 minute, you can say, never again. Never. As the Jewish people have said in their country. They set a standard there, and they said, we will never go through a Holocaust again. It will never occur again. When a human being gets that point of never again, it takes a minute. In a minute, you can also do some other things. In a minute, you can look somebody in the eyes like you've never looked at them before. In a minute, you can hug somebody like you've never hugged them before. In a minute, you can say the words, I love you, and mean it at a level you've never meant it before. In a minute, you can say, I quit, or let's begin, or it's over, or I do. Think of the minutes of your life that have changed who you are. And I got to promise you, we got a lot of them in here. Minutes, there's moments right at the point you think, this guy's insane, and I'm going to turn this off. You stay there a little bit. I can just tell you because I've done it for years. It's different for somebody else. One phrase will wake something up inside you. I'm not going to give you anything. It's all inside you. But when it wakes up, baby, it is time to move, and I don't have to tell you that. It'll just happen. you'll suddenly say, this is it, no more. And it's kind of like that Pearl Harbor movie when, you see them come diving down and the admiral should be celebrating and they say, Admiral, we've got this great victory. And he says, oh, I fear we've awakened a sleeping giant. And inside of each of us is that giant. And so today we're going to establish a habit that if you make it a part of your life, I promise you, I guarantee you beyond a shadow of a doubt, you will be able to experience dreams that you never thought were possible. Joy that seemed like it was unsustainable, and you'll sustain it. A connection with people like you never thought was possible. Not because I'm so smart, because these are laws, and I've stolen all this by modeling people that are successful, and I've used it, and it works for me too, and it'll work for you. But also, then we're going to begin the process of actually figuring out anything in your life that you want to change, and you haven't changed it, and we're going to take you through a 7-step process and do it. That's tomorrow. Once you go through those 7 steps, the changes will have begun. I mean, there are going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there are going to be problems. Those things don't go away. You just get better quality problems, that's all. I mean, a lot of people in life think they're going to be happy someday. They're going to have this extraordinary life when they have no problems. Well, if you had no problems, you'd probably be dead. Problems are a sign of life. What you want to do is use them to make yourself more. This is not a program that's going to eliminate all problems. It'll help you get rid of your current list so you can create a better list that makes you grow to the next level. That's what life is. So if problems don't go away, you better have a deeper purpose for your life. So here's what this is about today. You are going to start a process, if you're willing to, of taking time for yourself, of taking the most scarce resource you got, time, and giving it to you. And not just thinking about problems, but going through a very simple system that'll line you up for success. Because if problems aren't going to go away, how am I ever going to have a great life? Well, the answer to that is to realize that problems and happiness have no linkage whatsoever. I learned this because all of a sudden I felt like I had all these problems. And in the midst of problems, because I made changes, and by the way, anytime you make some changes, you're going to have some problems because people aren't going to agree with it, or they're not going to like it, or they're going to judge it and going to say, why did you do that? Or I don't like it. Change always creates problems. As you have problems, you create solutions, which, by the way, are more changes. And when you create more changes, what does that do? It creates more problems. So problems are here to stay. In fact, they won't be problems for you. They'll be challenges. And we love a challenge, don't we? Nobody wants a problem, but we love a challenge. I mean, why do we watch sports? 2 people take on a challenge to see what they can do. Why do you start a new business? What is it that makes you attracted to someone and saying, my gosh, can I connect with them? Can I get through to this person? Can I get this idea across? It's challenge. Challenge is necessary for growth, and growth is life. So it's a cool system. So let's get right to the point here. If you're going to have an extraordinary life, that life where you are juiced, then all that means is you're going to have a life where the primary emotions of your life are the ones you want. See, it doesn't mean that life works out every way you want. Sometimes it rains on your parade. Sometimes the events of your life you can't control, but you can control what it means to you. And when you control what it means to you, you have the ultimate power of your life. You have the edge, the ultimate advantage. See, I'll give you an example. Did you see that movie that won the Academy Award, Life is Beautiful? It's a story of a man who has an extraordinary life. Not because he has more money than anybody else, not because he's in a situation where everything is easy, but because he's alive. He has this joy about him. And by the way, if you've actually ever met Roberto Benigni, the man who plays this character, you know that he lives this way day to day. He was authoring this thing from himself. He's such a joyous guy. And when he won the Academy Award, you never saw so much emotion. He was like a little boy, and everybody loved it because nobody else has the guts to be that way. Or they've forgotten what it feels like to just feel, to be alive. What makes him extraordinary? An extraordinary psychology, an extraordinary mindset, an extraordinary way of looking at the world. And in the movie, the man has that, doesn't he? And who does it affect? Everyone. Everyone within the realm of his influence. His wife feels like the most cherished person on earth, and so does he. Because when you give that kind of love and that kind of joy, people give it back. It's infectious. His son seems so happy, and they're in the middle of the Nazis taking over their country, and if you know the story, I won't run it, you know that they get picked up. And there's such a connection amongst the family that the wife is not being sent away, and she gets on the train with them. And they're in the middle of this camp. This man with his extraordinary psychology figures a way of looking at the situation for his son, presenting it so that his son sees it as a game. Isn't life a game anyway? Instead of this horrible situation. And because he has that perspective, in the end, his family survives. See, if you want your family to survive, if you want them to succeed, if you want them to have joy, if you want your kids to have a lasting love. If you want to be able to give gifts in your life and not just take care of yourself, then you got to have an extraordinary psychology within yourself. It's not where you live physically, it's where you live internally. There are two worlds, the inside world and the outside world. We can't totally control the outside one, but we have absolute control in the inside one. But you know what? Most of us are too busy to take any time to check out and see how it's going on in here. Or we just accept it as this is the status quo. This is who I am. This is my life. Or I'll get to it later. Mañana. I got to handle this first. Something else that's not so important. I want to invite you, my friend, to take the time to say, I'm going to have every day an hour of power. Every day I'm going to have at least 30 minutes to thrive. Or 15 minutes to be fulfilled, for God's sakes, where I'm going to take those 15 minutes and I'm going to focus on everything I'm grateful for. I mean, if we're going to have a life, we got to have time. And the time has to have some specific things we do, and one of those is gratitude. If you want to know what's the quality of your life, how much time do you spend in gratitude? How much time are you grateful and appreciative to the point that emotion wells up in you? I'm feeling it now. I'm so grateful to God. I'm so grateful to have the privilege to serve you right now. So if you can get to that state, everything changes. I'll give you an example. If you think about being fearful, when you're fearful, you're not grateful. If you want to get rid of fear, which everybody has, and people say, oh, I'm not fearful, I'm stressed. Or if you have places like LA or New York, they're achievers. They can't even be stressed there. They have angst. It's a higher level of more sophisticated levels of stress. But you know what? If you follow the trail of stress, it brings you to fear. And everybody's got fears. Fear they're not enough. Fear that it won't work out. Fear they won't be loved. Everybody's got that at some level unconsciously. We're human. So you can put the fear aside when you're grateful. I don't just mean intellectually, yeah, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. I mean stopping, thinking, seeing, and feeling. So I'm going to walk you through a system that includes gratitude. Every day of our life, we got to have a vision. Every day of our life, we got to have something that excites us. When people tell me, oh, I'm bored, I'm tired, that thing is boring. No, you're boring because you don't have something that excites you in your life. You haven't come up with a vision. You haven't come something to move towards. We all need something that's going to make us use more of who we are, our courage, our passion, our joy, face our fears, build our emotional muscles. But you don't build emotional muscles when you do the same thing day after day after day. What you get is a life that's unfulfilling. So we've got to have a vision. So you have a compelling future, that thing that makes you want to get up early. There's a reason. You got to have a reason. And, I have friends that have sold their companies. One guy sold his company and made almost $1 billion in cash, about 800 million plus. And, he was so excited for about 2 months, maybe 3. But you know what? After that, there's only so much time you want to sit on the beach by yourself because everybody else is working, and doing something and being productive. There's only so many cocktails you can take. There's only so many, movies you can watch. There's a limit to it. What he needed was a new vision. Anytime you achieve a goal, as you get close to it, you better set up the next one real quick because otherwise it's kind of like postpartum. You were looking forward to that baby and now you got him, And sometimes in the middle of the night, you're going, what did I do here? Have you ever had that experience? I got 4 kids. I can relate. I hope you can. But you know what? You also have the experience on the other side of it. It's so wonderful. It's kind of like, the guys that went to the moon for the first time, the first astronauts. They worked their whole life. They achieved this goal. They walked on the moon. Then they came back. There was a ticker tape parade. They were heroes. They shook the president's hand. Now what? What do you do now that you walked on the moon? Well, maybe you got to find how to get adventure not out of a moon flight, but adventure out of a smile. Maybe you got to have a vision for what your life's about now. Without a vision, people perish. And you got to have a daily vision that'll excite you. Otherwise, life becomes mundane. And there's nothing worse than an okay life. I told you, you're not going to have that when we're done here. I promise you, if you get this little habit, you won't have to settle for a mundane life. What people are going to go is, what happened to you? Because there's an excitement in creation. There's not a lot of excitement in maintenance. You have to maintain your body. You got to maintain things, but creating things, that's what God created us for. Gave us the gift to make choices that could create new things, businesses, ideas, families, friends, a garden. And it's available to every one of us. But if you don't got a vision each day, then the day is not going to have much juice, is it? So every day there's got to be a little time for vision, right? Time for gratitude, time for vision. Every day you got to move.